Big news in the AI world. DeepSeek has released its brand new update, V3.1. And trust me, this is huge. Why? Because this new model is not only super powerful, it's also open source and free to use, which means developers, students, or even small startups can access tech that usually only big companies like OpenAI or Anthropic provide. With 685 billion parameters, that's like the brain power behind the AI, and massive 128K context window, so it can read and understand almost 400 pages of text at once. This model is already showing results that can compete with top AIs like Claude or even GPT-5. So in this video, I'm going to break down what exactly changed in DeepSeek V3.1, why people are so excited, and how it might shake up the AI world. Now, before we jump into new features, let's quickly talk about DeepSeek itself. Alright, DeepSeek is a Chinese AI company that's been making a lot of noise in the global AI race. Think of it this way. In the West, we have OpenAI with ChatGPT, Anthropic with Cloud, and Google with Gemini, right? In China, DeepSeek is one of the main challengers, trying to build powerful models that are not only smart but also affordable and open to everyone. Earlier this year, they released DeepSeek V3, which was already pretty impressive. It showed that open source AI can actually compete with the big private models. And now with V3.1, they have pushed things even further, making it bigger, smarter, and more useful. So basically, DeepSeek V3.1 is like the next level, the upgrade that could make open source AI even more mainstream. So let's talk about the actual release of DeepSeek V3.1. This new version was officially launched on August 19, 2025. And what's interesting is the way DeepSeek released it. Unlike companies like OpenAI or Google, who usually hold big launch events, live streams, or flashy announcements, DeepSeek went for a much quieter approach. They just pushed the model out online, and within hours, the AI community discovered it and started spreading the word everywhere. Now, where can you actually find it? The model is available on Hugging Face, which, if you don't know, is kind of like the GitHub for AI models. It's the most popular platform where developers share and use machine learning models. The fact that DeepSeek V3.1 is up there means anyone can download it, run it, and even fine tune it for your own projects. That's the real power of open source. You don't need to pay expensive subscriptions like you do with ChatGPT Plus or Cloud Pro. It's simply there, ready to use. But here is the catch. As of now, DeepSeek hasn't released a model card or detailed documentation. In the AI world, a model card is like an introduction manual or a dataset. It tells you how the model was trained, what kind of data it saw, its limitations, and recommended use cases. Without that, we don't yet have the official story from DeepSeek about what's under the hood. Still, that hasn't stopped the community. Developers around the world have already started testing it, running benchmarks, and even comparing it with other top tier models. So, even though the official paperwork is missing, the community itself is already filling in the gaps with real world experiments. Alright, now let's look at what actually changed in DeepSeek V3.1. And trust me, these upgrades are massive. First, the size of the model. V3.1 has 685 billion parameters. Now, parameters are like the tiny switches or connections inside the AI's brain. The more it has, the more knowledge and reasoning ability it can pack in. To put this in perspective, earlier open models had anywhere from a few billion to maybe a couple of 100 billion parameters. But 685 billion puts DeepSeek V3.1 in the leg of the largest open models ever released. And the size really matters here because it directly impacts how well the AI can understand complex queries, generate high quality responses, and even solve tough reasoning problems. Second, the context window. This is one of the most exciting upgrades. The model can now handle 128K tokens, which is like giving it the ability to read and process around 400 pages of text in one go. If you ever used AI before, you probably know that older models had a habit of forgetting things once conversations got too long. That's because their context windows were limited, maybe 8K or 32K tokens. But with 128K, you can feed DeepSeek an entire book a research paper collection, or a large code base, and it will still be able to refresh and use all of it in one conversation. For researchers, coders, or students, this is a huge game changer. Third, efficiency and precision. Now, here is a more technical but very important point. V3.1 supports different numerical formats like BF16, FP8, and F32. Don't worry about the jargon, think of it like this. These are just different ways the AI processes numbers under the hood, right? Some are lighter and faster, like FP8, while others heavier but more accurate, like F32. By supporting multiple formats, the model becomes much more flexible and efficient. That means it can run on a wider variety of hardware, from high-end data center GPUs to more optimized setups, without losing much speed or accuracy. In simple terms, you get more power at less cost. Fourth, the hybrid architecture. DeepSeek V3.1 isn't designed just to be a chatbot. Instead, it's what we can call a multi-purpose model. That means it can handle chat, reasoning, and coding tasks all in one system. So, if I had to sum it up, DeepSeek V3.1 is bigger than before. It remembers way more, it runs more efficiently, and it's designed to work across multiple tasks. And that combination is exactly why people are calling it a potential game changer in the AI space. Now let's talk about how DeepSeek V3.1 actually performs in the real world. Whenever a new AI model comes out, the first thing people do is run it through benchmarks. Think of benchmarks like exam tests for AI. They measure how well a model can reason, write, code, or solve problems compared to others. One of the early tests of DeepSeek V3.1 was on something called the IDER coding benchmark. Now, what does that mean? Basically, it's a test to see how well an AI can assist with programming, whether it can understand your instructions, fix bugs, or generate usable code. On that benchmark, V3.1 scored about 71.6%. At first, that number might not sound exciting, but here is why it matters. That score actually puts DeepSeek V3.1 on the same level as some of the best models in the world, like Cloud Opus 4. And remember, Cloud Opus 4 is not only one of the most advanced AIs right now, it's also one of the most expensive. Yet here we have DeepSeek V3.1, which is open source and free to use, showing results in the same ballpark. That's pretty incredible. And it's not just coding. Early community testing shows V3.1 is also strong in reasoning tasks, handling long context, and following complex instructions without losing track. In simple words, it's proving that it can do the heavy lifting we usually expect only from closed paid models. So now let's talk about how are people actually reacting to DeepSeek V3.1. Well, the short answer is the AI community is buzzing like crazy right now. On Reddit, especially in the local LLAMA community, which is where a lot of open source AI fans hang out, developers are really impressed. The thing that has everyone talking about that 128K context window. Imagine giving an AI 400 pages of material and it still remembers everything. That's something only the biggest, most expensive models could do until now. And the fact that this is open source, people are saying it finally feels like we have a free alternative that can actually compete with GPT and Cloud. On Hugging Face, which is basically the main library where people share AI models, DeepSeek V3.1 is already trending. Tons of people are downloading it, running their own tests, and sharing results. So now the big question, what does DeepSeek V3.1 actually mean for the bigger AI world? First off, this is a massive win for open source AI. Until now, if you wanted cutting edge AI, you had to go through closed companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google. Their most advanced models, GPT-5, Cloud Opus, Gemini, are locked behind subscriptions or enterprise deals that cost serious money. That created a sort of AI divide where only well funded businesses or researchers with deep pockets could access the best tools, right? But DeepSeek V3.1 flips that on its head. Suddenly, you have a model with 685 billion parameters and a 128K context window that's free to use and experiment with. Second, this move hits up the competition in a big way. Until now, closed labs had the luxury of being the only players at the top. Now, DeepSeek is forcing their hand. Think about it. If a free open source model can deliver results close to GPT-5 or Cloud, why would people keep paying premium prices? This kind of pressure usually leads to faster innovation, lower cost, and better products for end users. It's a win win for the global AI community. Third, this part is huge. DeepSeek V3.1 shows how China is stepping up in the AI race. Most of the dominant players in the AI have been American companies, right? But this release is a signal. Powerful world class AI models aren't just coming from Silicon Valley anymore. The race is becoming truly global, and that has big implications, not just for tech, but for economics, geopolitics, and who controls the future of AI intelligence. Now, before we get carried away, let's talk about the flip side, the limitations and what's still missing with DeepSeek V3.1. The biggest issue right now is transparency. There is no proper model card or official documentation released by the company yet. And that's important because a model card usually tells us how the AI was trained, what kind of data went into it, what safety guardrails are in place, and what kinds of tasks it might struggle with. Without that information, we are kind of flying blind. Developers and researchers are left to guess or reverse engineer it instead of having a clear picture from the start. Second, since the model is so new, most of the performance results we are seeing are from the community, not from DeepSeek itself. Don't get me wrong, the community tests are super valuable, but they are also scattered and not always standardized. It's one thing to see benchmarks like either coding or reasoning tests, but it's another to see how it performs across industries on different datasets or under heavy real world uses. That's going to take more time. And finally, like with any massive AI release, there are questions about safety and reliability. Will it hallucinate less than GPT or Cloud? Does it have biases in certain areas? How stable is it when you push it to the limit with very long conversations? These are all questions that still need answer. So in short, DeepSeek V3.1 looks incredibly promising, but right now we are still missing some critical details. It's too early to crown it as flawless. We will need more transparency and more testing before we know its true strengths and weaknesses. So, to quickly wrap up, DeepSeek V3.1 is a big deal. It's got 685 billion parameters, a 128K context window. It's more efficient and it can handle chat, reasoning, and coding all in one. Early tests even show it's performing one of the same level as big models like Cloud Opus 4 or GPT-5. And the best part, it's open source and free, which makes it a real game changer for developers, students, and startups who normally couldn't afford this level of AI. Of course, it's still new and missing official documentation, so we will need to see how it develops. But one thing is clear, DeepSeek V3.1 has already shaken up the AI world. So if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more AI updates, and drop a comments with your thoughts on DeepSeek V3.1. I would love to hear what you think.